The Infors Multitron shaker is delivered to you complete and requires very little in the way of setup. In this video, I'm going to start at the very beginning with the unboxing and inspecting of your new Multitron shaker. If this step's already been done, go ahead and skip ahead to 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the video where we'll begin the setup. Look for damages to the outer box, especially those made by forks from a forklift or fork truck. If your unit has a top cooler, look for any signs of fluid leaking from the package. Tip and tell sensors will tell you if the cabinet has been tipped past the allowable amount. These sensors are normally attached at the front and the side of the box. The label below the tip and tell sensors will tell you how to read the devices. Attached somewhere on the box will be a shock watch sensor. This is a sensor that reacts to excessive G-force loads. If the cabinet's dropped or roughly handled during transit, this sensor will be activated and the clear vial will show a red color. As with the tip and tell sensors, the shock watch sensor also has an instruction label below it. If you can see obvious damage to the cabinet, refuse the delivery and contact your Infors sales representative immediately. If damage appears to be limited only to the box, make a note of it on the bill of lading and contact your sales representative right away. Once the box and packaging materials have been removed, we can now start removing the wooden base plate.
Warning, warning, warning.
We have to be very careful when using any tools near the glass door. The edges of the glass door are especially vulnerable to impacts from heavy metallic tools. So for this reason, use caution when working in these areas. We can now get safely back to work. Begin by removing the two smaller pieces of wood that span the front and the back of the cabinet. Use a number 2 Phillips screwdriver bit and a power drill for this operation. Now in this video, you see me working here with a double that's been stacked on our storage base. On our 6-inch bases, these removable pieces will span across the sides of the cabinet. Lastly, the remaining wood has to be unbolted and removed from the cabinet. You will need an adjustable wrench or a ratchet and socket set to do this. Now that we've gotten all the packaging materials removed from the outside of the cabinet, it's time to pick up the cabinet and take it to its new home. The cabinet can be picked up either through the front, the back, or if the pallet jack is long enough, through one of the sides. Just be sure your forks stick far enough under the base and come out the other side. Do not attempt to lift the unit if the forks do not protrude out the other side. Carefully move your cabinet to its final position. Keep the pallet jack handy as you'll need it for the next step. Be sure to heed the minimum distance clearance sticker on the side of the machine. This is important to get adequate airflow to all the panels that require cooling. Place the green vibration dampening pads under each foot. Lower the unit down on the pads and use a level to check the machine for true. This usually takes several iterations to get it right. Be patient and take your time. Your efforts will be rewarded. Turn the adjustable foot on the front left corner of the base to raise the unit up or down. Because the units only have a single adjustable foot, shims may be required under the other feet to attain level. Place the shims under the other feet as required. Repeat this process until the machine is level and stable. Be patient and take your time with this process and you'll be rewarded with a smooth running shaker. All of your optional accessory items will be packed in one or more of the cabinets. Locate the hardware bag inside of the shaker and remove the 2 bolts for bolting the handles to the door. Also included in this bag will be a wrench that fits these bolts. Unwrap one of the door handles and slide a bolt through one of the ends. Get this bolt started. Do not fully tighten it yet. Insert the other bolt in the other end and start that one. Once both bolts have been started, go ahead and tighten them down snugly. Take care not to over tighten these bolts, you just want to snug them up. Remove the 2 decorative orange end caps from their plastic wrap. Slide the orange end caps into place on the end of the handle. Gently tap them with the palm of your hands to seat them in place. Once your Multitron has been moved to its final location and the cabinet is balanced and leveled, you can now remove the door protectors. Open each cabinet in your stack and locate and remove the foam blocks that are there to prevent the table from rotating during transit. Also remove the silica gel packets that are used to absorb any excess moisture. It's now time to start making connections to things like CO2 and water supply. If your units are equipped with the CO2 control option, the inlet ports are on the right-hand side panel. These are push to connect fittings. All you have to do is push the supplied fitting into the port until it locks. Connect your supply tubing with a 6mm or 1/4 inch ID to the barb fitting on the top of the CO2 lines. Adjust your regulator to 0.5 bar or 7.5 psi. The water connections for the humidity system also use convenient push-to-connect fittings. Locate the tubing pack inside of the cabinet and insert the supplied tubing into each of the steam generators. Push the tubing into the fitting until it locks securely in place. Fill the water carboy with either distilled or reverse osmosis water. Other water types should not be used. Connect the individual tubing to the ports on top of the water carboy. Place the water carboy on the floor next to the unit. Do not connect the unit to a pressurized system or set the water carboy on top of the unit. If for any reason you need to remove the tubing, push in and hold the locking ring while pulling back on the tubing to release it. If your units are supplied with humidity, it's recommended you install the supplied drain kit. Begin by removing the yellow plugs on the left-hand side of the cabinet. Use a flat blade screwdriver or a coin for this operation. If your lab already has a drain system, install the 3/8 barb fittings included in the hardware kit into these ports. Connect to them using 3/8 or 10mm ID tubing. The tubing and fittings for the drain kit have already been partially assembled. Use the T-fittings with the hose attached on the bottom and middle cabinets. Tools are not necessary for the installation of these, just tighten them by hand. The T-fitting with the filter is installed on the uppermost cabinet. Simply push the open end of the tubing onto the barb fitting of the T above it. Clamps are not necessary for this system. The section of tube with the quick release coupling attached connects to the bottommost cabinet. Attach the quick connect fitting at the carboy to the quick connect fitting on the lower cabinet. Make sure the carboy is open by turning the valve so that it's perpendicular to the flow in the tube. The carboy may be placed under the side or the front of the cabinet, whichever is most convenient to your situation. And that's it. The hardware setup of your cabinet is now complete. If you've ordered the sticky stuff trays, you'll need to remove the protective covering before you can use them. If you haven't already done so, plug the power cords into the cabinet on the right hand side and connect them to the power outlet. Turn the power of the cabinet on. After a few seconds, the unit will come on and go through its boot sequence. Let's take a moment to quickly cover the basic controls for the shaker. The page key is used to cycle through the various screens on the display. The set key must be pressed before making changes to the parameters or turning the parameters on and off. The plus and minus keys are used to increase or decrease the value of the parameter on the adjacent LCD display. The on-off key is used to turn on or off the displayed parameter. There's an upper and lower section to the display on the Multitron shaker. Each one has its own set of control keys. Use the appropriate control keys to adjust the value on its adjacent display. To turn a parameter on, make sure it's displayed in the window. If not, use the page key to select it. Once the parameter is displayed, press Set, then On/Off. This will switch the parameter on. To turn the parameter off, do the same thing. Press Set, then press the On/Off key. To change the value of any parameter, make sure it appears on the display. Then press Set and use the plus and minus keys to change the value to the desired number. That's it for the basic control of the parameters. For more in-depth and detailed instructions, refer to your operator's manual. The Options key allows access to various other functionality. Refer to your owner's manual for instructions.